Hi everyone, in Algebra 2B, today we're going to be going over your questions on lesson 100A. We're doing numbers 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 11, and 12. So number 1 is a word problem. So it says, Bickford traveled twice as fast as Sean traveled. Thus Bickford could travel the 320 miles to the reef in only 2 hours less than it took Sean to travel the 240 miles to Jane's house. Find the rates and times of both boys. So first off, it says that the Bickford traveled twice as fast as Sean. So that means the rate of Bickford is going to be twice the rate of Sean. Then I have Bickford could travel 320 miles. So the distance of Bickford is 320 miles. It says in 2 hours less than it took Sean. So the distance of Sean is going to be 240. And it says the time of Bickford is going to be 2 hours less than the time of Sean. Okay, so it says Bickford could travel to the reef in 2 hours less than it took Sean to travel. So this would be the time of Bickford would be the time of Sean minus 2. Now we know distance is equal to rate times time, so I'm going to change this to RBTB is equal to 320. And then I'm going to change that to RSTS equals 240. Now I know what RB is equal to. It's equal to 2RS. And I know that TB is equal to TS minus 2. And you're going to distribute that, so that would be 2 RSTS minus 4 RS equals 320. Now we know what RSTS is equal to. RSTS is equal to 240 right here. So that'd be 2 times 240 minus 4 RS equals 320. So I'm going to add 480 to this side. Wait, no, I'm going to subtract because that's opposite. So that would be 320 minus 480 is negative 160. So I have negative 4 RS equals negative 160, which means that RS is going to be equal to 40. Once I know what RS is equal to, I can plug it into this equation over here, which would be 40 TS equals 240. So 240 divided by 40 is equal to 6. So TS is equal to 6. So I have TS, I have RS. Now if TS is equal to 6, then TB is going to be equal to 4 because it's 4 minus 2 or 6 minus 2. Then RB is twice RS, so that means RB is going to be 2 times RS, which is 80. So RB is 80, RS is 40, TS is 6, TB is 4. Moving on to number 2. So for number 2, we have the solution was 68% alcohol and it came up to the 600 milliliter mark on the beaker. How much alcohol should be evaporated so that the remainder would only be 20%? So we're evaporating, so that means we're subtracting. Our starting solution is going to be 68%, and it says that we have 600 milliliters of that. We're subtracting pure alcohol, so that would be 100% alcohol, and we don't know how much we're taking away. But our ending solution should be 20% alcohol, and it would be starting with 600, then taking away a certain percent or a certain amount from it. Now I'm going to multiply that, so it would be 68 times 600 minus 100x is equal to 20 times 600 minus x. So now I have 68 times 600, which would give me 40,800 minus 100x equals 20 times 600, which would be 12,000, and then minus 20x. So if I move the 20x to this side, move the 40,800 to the right-hand side, I would get negative 80x is equal to 1200 minus 40,800, which would be negative 28,800. And then you're going to divide that by negative 80. So x would be equal to 360 milliliters. Now moving on, we're going to look at number 3. So some sparkled and the rest coruscated. 10 times the number of sparklers exceeded 6 times the number of coruscated by 40, but 4 times the number that coruscated exceeded twice the number that sparkled by only 160. How many were there in each category? So for number 3, I have 10 times the number of sparklers, so 10s, exceeded 6 times the number of coruscated, so 6c, by 40. Then it says 4 times the number of coruscated, so 4c, exceeded twice the number that sparkled, so 2s, by only 160. So now what I can do is I can move everything over, or all the letters, to the left-hand side. So that'd be 10s minus 6c equals 40. Do the same thing with this one. So it would be negative 2s plus 4c equals 160. So what I would do is I would just do elimination. So I would multiply the bottom equation by 5, leaving the top equation as is. So that would be 10s minus 6c equals 40. Bottom would turn into negative 10s plus 20c equals 160 times 5, which is 800. So now when I add that together, the s's cancel, and I'm left with 14c equals 840. And when I divide 840 by 14, I get c is equal to 60. And now I need to solve for s. So I'm going to plug that actually into this bottom equation. So that would be negative 2s plus 4 times 60 equals 160. So 4 times 6 is 240, so I'd move that over to the other side by subtracting. So I have negative 2s is equal to negative 80. And then divide by negative 2, so s is going to be equal to 40. So it says c is the number that would coruscated, so that's 60, and then the number that sparkled was 40. And then we're going to look at number 5. So for number 5, it says 3 consecutive integers such that the product of the first and the third exceeds the product of 8 and the second by 32. So consecutive integers would be n plus 1, and then n plus 2. The product of the first and the third. So the first and the third would be n times n plus 2. And it said it exceeded the product of 8 and the second. So 8 times n plus 1 by 32. Now you're going to distribute that, so you would get n squared plus 2n equals 8n plus 8 plus 32. I'm going to move everything over to the left-hand side, so that would be n squared minus 6n minus 40 equals 0. So I need two numbers that multiply to give me negative 40, but add up to give me negative 6. So 8 and 5, 4 and 10. So n minus 10 times n plus 4 equals 0. So I get two results. I would get n is equal to negative 4, and then n is equal to 10. So negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, then 10, 11, and 12 would be your results. 3 consecutive integers. Moving on to number 8. So for number 8, I need a reference triangle facing in the same direction. So if the 60 degrees is here, the 90 degrees is here, this would be 1, 2, and root 3. So I would set up my ratios as m over 2, slant over slant, equals base over base, 5 over root 3, equals height over height. I'm going to start by cross multiplying the first two, which would give me root 3m is equal to 10. Then when I divide both sides by root 3, what I have to remember is that I can never leave root 3 in the denominator. So to get rid of that, I would multiply top and bottom by the square root of 3. Which means that m is going to be 10 root 3 over 3. Now for n, I have to do the same thing, but I'm going to set the last two fractions equal to each other. So that would be root 3n is equal to 5. I'm going to divide both sides by root 3, but again, you can't leave the square root of 3 in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by root 3. So n is going to be equal to 5 root 3 over 3. Now moving on to b. B, I'm going to draw my reference triangle also. And in this reference triangle, each side is 1, hypotenuse is root 2. So notice that the sides are equal to each other on this one, which means that if this side is 7, that means P is also going to be equal to 7, because on a 45, 45, 90 triangle, the sides are equal to each other. Now for Q, I'm going to do Q over root 2 equals 7 over 1. Cross multiply, that would give you Q is equal to 7 square root 2. Okay, so you have to have those triangles memorized in order to do those problems. Now moving on to number 11. This one is asking you to solve by substitution, not by elimination. So we're going to have to solve for one of the letters. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to solve for what x is equal to. So if I do 2x, that would be equal to 2y minus 1. To divide the whole thing by 2, which would give me x is equal to y minus 1/2. I'm going to take that, I'm going to plug it into my second equation. So that'd be 4 times y minus 1/2 plus 3y equals 5. So if I distribute, I would get 4y minus 2 plus 3y equals 5. I'm going to move the 2 to the other side. 4y plus 3y is 7y, and 5 plus 2 is 7, which means that y is going to be equal to 1. Now if I plug that back in, up here I have x is equal to 1 minus 1/2. Make a common denominator, so 2 over 2 minus 1 over 2 means that x is going to be equal to 1/2. So when you write your answer, if x is 1/2, your y is going to be 1. So you have to solve that one by substitution. If you did it by elimination, it would be considered wrong. Then the last one that we're going to do is number 12. I'm going to start by solving for x in the top equation. So x is going to be equal to y plus 5. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to plug it in here. So that would be y plus 5 times y equals 2. I'm going to distribute the y and bring the 2 over. So that would be y squared plus 5y minus 2 equals 0. Now to solve for y, I'm going to do quadratic formula. So y is equal to -5 plus or minus the square root. 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times -2 all over 2 times 1. So it'd be -5 over 2 plus or minus. That would be 25 plus 8 over 2. And that would give me -5 over 2 plus or minus root 33 over 2. And that would be your y. Now for x, I'm going to plug that back into the beginning. So x will be equal to -5 over 2 plus or minus root 33 over 2 plus 5. So I want to add this and the 5 and the -5 over 2 by making a common denominator. So 10 over 2 minus 5 over 2 would actually just be positive 5 over 2. And the root 33 over 2 would stay the same. And that would be your result for number 12. That concludes your questions on 100 Part A. I hope you guys all have a great day. Don't forget to post your questions for 100 Part B by tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. I hope you guys all have a great day. Bye.